Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Pete. And so I was having a conversation with a prospective client of mine over the weekend, and she mentioned to me that she had a lower credit score rating, somewhere around 650. And while technically at 650, you still can buy a property, but you may not get the best interest rates or the best lenders or banks who would want to work with you. And so it got me thinking, I'm like, I have a lot of experience looking at credit reports, working with all my clients, investors, landlords, tenants, and I have some real world, real experience tips and tricks to help you improve your credit score. So I thought, hey, why don't I just make a video about that? And so for those of you who aren't familiar, a good credit score is anything close to 700. 700 is a pretty good credit score. But then if you can get to 800, then we're talking phenomenal credit score. Now, you don't get a trophy or a cash reward or anything like that, although I wish that they did give those out. But it's just cool to say I have an 800 credit score. You'll definitely get my attention if you're working with me. And I won't bore you with all the things that the financial gurus always talk about, which is like paying your bills on time, making sure you at least pay the minimum payments, and to make sure you actually apply for credit so that there is a credit history. That's sort of normal humdrum type stuff. What I'm here to talk about is to give you specific tips, tricks, and strategies on ways for you to improve your credit score and to keep it that way. I know, for those of you in the Asian category, you don't understand credit, you don't like it, you want to pay everything in cash, boom. But it's always good to at least have a few credit cards around and actually use them so that when the time comes and you do need to borrow money for a loan, for your business, for a property, for a car, it's there for you, it's available. Because with a longer and consistent credit history, it shows to the banks and the lenders that they can lend you money, that they can ultimately trust you. But that's not really what I'm going to talk about in this video. What I'm going to talk about is all those weird, strange things that are dragging down your credit score and your history that you may or may not be aware of. And believe me, it's always these small lingering things that you forgot about that are pulling you down more than the big stuff. So I'm here to help you reduce stress, frustration, and worry over your credit so that when the time comes for you to do something big, you're ready for it. So come along with me if you don't know what a credit report is, you don't know how it works, or you just want to find ways to improve your credit without applying for another credit card. We'll get into a little bit more of that right after this, guys. Okay, and we're back. So the first thing that you want to do is you definitely want to pull up your credit report. So there's two major credit agencies here in Canada. The first one is Equifax and the second one is TransUnion. And then of course with all this new technology happening and just a better overall user experience, I kind of like Credit Karma too because it's free, it's got a super simple user interface, and it lets me know if there's any activity happening on my account that I should be aware of. But the de facto and most reliable credit rating agency is Equifax, of course. So if there's something wrong in your TransUnion report, at the end of the day, they still have to go back to Equifax to fix that problem. So you might as well just go to the source and use Equifax, because if there's any issues or disputes that you need to handle, you need to talk to those guys. And as you can probably guess, I'm going to help you identify some problems or issues in your report. So if you want to pull it up, then we can go through some of the major things in your report that you should be looking out for. Because I should point out that these credit rating agencies are actually just aggregators, right? So they take information from all these different financial institutions, they put it all together, and they're supposed to give you this information in a report. They're not responsible for fixing your credit history and your score. They're not responsible for identifying errors or mistakes or anything in the report. That's actually your responsibility. And so oftentimes you will see stuff that should be there that isn't in your report, or you'll see things that are in there that shouldn't be there. I never spent $1,000 at Victoria's Secret. $500 in scented candles? Oh yeah, maybe that was me for showings. But what you want to do is when you pull up the report is you want to look at the credit score, you want to look at the name, you want to look at the social insurance number, and you also want to look at the address. Like, is the current address correct for you? Sometimes in the report they'll also show your past addresses, so the last few places that you've lived at. You want to make sure that this information is correct. And even if your name is spelled incorrectly, even off by one letter or one space, that could potentially cause some problems too. Because believe it or not, there are more people out there in the world. Some of them may have similar names as you or even identical names. This happens a lot in the Asian community. And it's especially bad if your doppelganger name is someone who doesn't like paying bills and just likes opening up random credit cards. That's not so good for you. So I think when you're trying to pull up your report, it's an option whether you want to use the social insurance number or not. I would say use your social insurance number because you want to make sure that it's accurate and it matches up. In the report, if your social insurance number is correct, but there's something wrong in the name, you have something to back it up to say, look, that's me, but there's something wrong with the report. And again, check the address, check the occupation. Is it correct? Is it up to date? I've actually even seen mistakes in a credit report simply because people have been sharing the same property, or they both lived at the same properties at different times. This can happen, guys. So if it doesn't seem right, you definitely want to give Equifax a call to make sure this gets all sorted out, and maybe they can do an investigation for you. Okay, so now you want to go down the list of accounts. You want to see all the things that have caused hits on your account. So for example, if you wanted to sign up for a new contract to get the new iPhone, that will show up on your credit report as a hit. It's not a big one, but still, it's a hit. So then if you start seeing hits on your account for things like, opening up credit cards at PetSmart and you don't have a pet, or that you suddenly applied for a loan for your startup and you actually work at the bank, these are red flags that you might want to look into. Big hits are obviously things like cars, loans for businesses, student loans, mortgages for your house. Those are the larger type hits. But still, in the end, smaller stuff could actually hurt your account tremendously. Because in the world today of hackers and identity fraud and theft, it's a real thing. I've seen it happen to people that I know. I've seen it happen to clients. It actually even happened to me a really, really long time ago, where I saw things on my account that shouldn't have been there. And this was right before we were about to close on a condo that we had purchased. But no need to worry. Thank you for your concern. It was all taken care of, so we're all good. So now, a very common thing that drags people's credit scores down that sort of gets overlooked are small unpaid amounts on bills like utilities or cell phones. Because what often happens is people move, right? And then that last bill gets sent to the previous address, and then they never end up seeing it, or they're not aware of an unpaid balance. And then sometimes you have people who cut off their cell phones or utilities because they're moving to a completely different country altogether. They forget about this unpaid balance that they have. And then 2-3 years later, when they're back and they're about to rent a new place or buy a new house, I see that their credit has dropped to 600 when it should be like 700. And sometimes it's just for this littlest amount. It's like $8.88, something you could have paid for with the change in your cushions, right? But you definitely want to pay attention to this type of thing, especially after you've canceled services. You want to make sure that you've paid off all the remaining balances, because those things can come back and bite you really bad. The thing is, these companies know that it can hurt you because it's such a small amount. It's something you could just take care of right away. But it does happen, and you want to make sure, because you can see these balances on your credit report if you go through it thoroughly. So pull the report, make sure all the companies that you have dealt with in the past are in fact correct on this report. Pay off those small remaining balances, and if the cards are in your favor, 6 to 12 months later, your credit will improve. It will get a lot better. Sometimes it takes a few phone calls. Talk to Equifax, talk to the company that's holding your balances. You can dispute it, you can fight it, or the easier thing is just to pay it off and try to negotiate to get your credit score back and restored to where it should be. It takes time, it takes patience, but it's well worth it, and it'll help you save a lot of money and stress in the long run. So while identity theft and fraud is very commonplace these days, what's even more common is human error, where sometimes the balance might not even be yours. It might be someone else's, or they've mistaken you for someone else because they swapped your first name and your last name incorrectly. It happens, I'm not gonna lie. And I find it pretty ridiculous in this day and age, but it's something that you gotta be aware of, and that's why you should review your report fairly thoroughly if you're about to do something big in the next 6 to 12 months. Because trust me, you don't want to get bad news when you're about to round third base and head for home. Meaning the deal is accepted for purchasing your home, but credit is the issue where you can't get your mortgage. You don't want that to happen to you. So protect your credit, guys. Not only is it better for you financially, it's just better for your peace of mind, and it helps you get preferential approval and treatment for things like mortgages, loans on cars. You get lower interest rates because you're considered lower risk. So nobody's going to look out for your credit better than you can, cowboys and cowgirls. And ultimately, it's your responsibility. But lucky for you, you've got somebody like me who's going to put together a video to remind you of something that you should be doing. So I hope this video was helpful, useful to you in some way. I know it's a little bit of a different video where we talk about personal finance more than actual hardcore real estate itself, but it's such an important and early part of the process that I don't want you to mess up, so that when it comes time for you to rent a place or to purchase your home, you're prepared, you're ready, you know what's coming, and you know you're going to get the best preferential rates. And again, make sure you set up an active monitoring service if you're about to do something in the next 6 to 12 months. You won't regret it, I promise. So please give us a like if you like this sort of content, sort of more on the personal finance. Let us know in the comments below, and definitely hit the subscribe button because it makes me feel all warm and tingly on the inside. It would help us out a lot on this channel and get us out more to people who want to discover this type of content for themselves and help them repair their own credit scores in personal finance too. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and until next time, bye for now.